You know, our world basically has one default setting, right? Faster. Go faster, do more, be louder. But what if that constant chase, that relentless pursuit of more, is the very thing driving us straight into burnout? In this explainer, we're going to dig into a pretty radical idea: the incredible power of just standing still. Does this feel familiar? I bet it does. It's the beat of the modern rat race. You know, this endless cycle of chasing the next promotion, shouting to be heard over the noise, and just grinding until you hit a wall. It feels like we have to do it, but let's be real, it's totally unsustainable. That treadmill just keeps getting faster. So that brings us to this really powerful, kind of mind-bending paradox. What if, in a world that's absolutely obsessed with motion, your greatest advantage, your actual superpower, isn't about moving faster, but knowing exactly when and how to be still? To really see this clash between frenzy and focus play out, let me tell you a story. It's a tale of two investors in two very, very different ways to think about success. On one side, you've got these traders, right? Glued to their screens, jumping on every hot stock, reacting to every little blip of noise. It's total chaos. And on the other side, you've got Warren Buffett, just sitting quietly in Omaha, reading, thinking, and waiting for the real long-term signal to emerge from all that noise. One path is reactive and exhausting. The other is patient and incredibly powerful. This table, it really just lays out the two competing operating systems for life, doesn't it? Society's so-called wisdom tells us hustle 24/7, have a loud opinion on everything, always want more stuff. But the alternative path, it's almost the exact opposite. It's not about constant hustle, it's about strategic stillness. It's not about having loud opinions, but about finding power in silence. It completely redefines what winning even looks like. Okay, so here's where it gets really counterintuitive and fun. What if the very things our culture calls foolish, like being quiet or not having a hot take on every single thing, what if those are actually your hidden superpowers? This ancient wisdom just flips the whole script. It's suggesting that being cloudy when everyone else seems so certain, or being simple when everyone else is trying to be so clever, that's not a flaw. It's a profound strength. It's a quiet confidence, a kind of calm that runs as deep and as powerful as the ocean. And look, this isn't just some dusty idea from an old book. Modern science is actually starting to prove that this kind of foolishness gives you a real, measurable edge. So get this. Research from places like MIT and Harvard shows that when our brain is in its idle state, when you're just daydreaming or staring out the window, that's not laziness. That's when your brain is making its most creative connections. And then there's the beginner's mind, something Steve Jobs was famous for. That willingness to embrace not knowing is exactly what leads to game-changing ideas. Being simple isn't being dumb. It's the fertile ground where breakthroughs happen. Okay, so how do we actually tap into this power? Where does this deep calm even come from? Well, ancient Taoist wisdom gives us this beautiful metaphor for it: returning to the mother. So what is the mother? Just think of it as your ultimate source. It's that deep, natural, sustainable well of energy and wisdom inside you. It's what really and truly recharges you, unlike, say, the quick, empty hit you get from external praise or another cup of coffee. It's really about working with the natural rhythms of life, instead of constantly fighting against them. A farmer who plants according to the seasons gets a healthy, sustainable harvest year after year. The one who tries to force growth with chemicals just ends up depleting the soil. And you see this in the real world. Just look at a company like Patagonia. Their Earth First mission isn't just some marketing slogan, it's their mother, it's their source. And that deep connection is what fuels their innovation, their resilience, and a billion-dollar brand with a loyalty that fast fashion trends could never, ever touch. So here's the question for you to think about. Are your actions and your energy coming from a deep, restorative place, like a good night's sleep? Or are you just running on fumes, borrowing energy from tomorrow with another shot of caffeine? All right, this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually do it? Let's get practical and turn these big ideas into a simple toolkit that you can start using right away. Okay, 4 simple habits. First, schedule a weekly unlearning hour. No phones, no tasks. Just disconnect and let your brain reset. Second, embrace that beginner's mind. Go learn something you're terrible at. It's humbling and it opens you up. Third, practice financial enoughness. Seriously, define what enough means to you and free yourself from that endless chase for more. And finally, lead with silence. In your next meeting, try this. Listen 80% of the time. Talk 20%. The point isn't just to be quiet, it's to actually hear. So what's the actual real-world payoff here? Why should you even bother with this seemingly foolish, quiet path when the world is so competitive? Because for every single pressure modern life throws at you, there's a stillness-based antidote that gives you a massive advantage. So instead of FOMO, the fear of missing out, you get the genuine mental clarity that comes from JOMO, the joy of missing out. Instead of the constant pressure to buy more stuff, you find the incredible financial freedom of just wanting less. See, this isn't about hiding from the world, it's about gaining a powerful, strategic edge within it. And you see people doing this everywhere. Think of a world leader like Jacinda Ardern, who chose her own well-being over clinging to power. Or the stories of financial traders who use meditation to outperform their hyper-stressed colleagues. Or even the whole FIRE movement. People retiring super early, not by earning more, but by defining enough and wanting less. So in the end, it really all comes down to this. In a culture that practically wears burnout as a badge of honor, your ability to stand still, to disconnect from all that noise, and to draw power from your own deep source, that's not a weakness. That is your fortress. Our world rewards the loud and the busy. It celebrates constant motion. But the biggest opportunities, the most profound truths, the most sustainable ways forward, they're almost never found in the noise. They're found in the quiet. So the question I want to leave you with is this. What deep truth is just waiting for you to hear it if only you'd give yourself the chance to be still and listen?